This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Ikenna.
Good evening, Mr. Obinwanne. Good morning from here.
It's nice to have you today to join us. I know how difficult it is for you to be part of this meeting. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
And then here we have my co-host, Mr. Nnamdi Achonu. Mr. Nnamdi Achonu, good evening.
Hello.
Nnamdi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Good evening.
I can hear you loud and clear, my brother.
And we also have Nweke Olisa. Nweke Olisa, good evening. Nweke Olisa, can you hear me? Good evening.
Nweke Osai, good evening.
Oh, sorry, Osai, sorry. Nweke Osai, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And also we have Anthony Ezeribe. Ezeribe, good evening. So, before we dive into our major discussion today, I would like to thank everyone for joining, especially my friend and my brother Ikenna, who is joining from Japan. Some of our friends joining from Nigeria. I want to appreciate you guys for being part of today's discussion. Before we start, I want to urge our audience who might be watching this video later to please kindly subscribe, like, and comment. We would like your feedback after each and every video. You can as well ask questions on the comment sections. Our speakers will address your questions. And that being said, I don't need to introduce anybody. Like, I don't need to introduce Nnamdi Achonu again. He's been part of the show for ages. And I also don't need to introduce Dr. Ezeribe. But I have a special guest, a friend, and a brother. I've known Ikenna for 25 years. And yeah, we actually grew up together in City of Furniture. And I'm pleased to have him here. Ikenna Steve Nweke is a graduate of political science from the University of Tsukuba, Japan. He's also currently Tsukuba, yeah. He's also currently a PhD candidate and the team fellow at the same university. His research is focused mainly on Boko Haram. Ikenna Steve Nweke is the president of Info Club International. He's also a rebrand Nigerian ambassador. He was awarded the anti-corruption icon of the ICPC by President Muhammadu Buhari. He is recognized as one of the most influential Nigerians in diaspora by the Nigerian Diaspora Commission. And he has received many national and international awards. Ikenna Nweke, is very, very nice to have you here once again.
Thank you so much, my brother Obinwanne. I'm pleased to be here today. Thank you. And thank you to other participants.
Okay, so today we want to do a recap of what we did the last time, the State of the Nation. But this time around, we want to lay our focus and emphasis on the youth as we approach the 2023 presidential election. There are so many discussions coming up. Where is the youth standing? What impact will the youth make? How will the youth pilot the affairs of this government? These are many questions that needs to be answered. That is why we decide to dive into the discussion. In 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari signed a law of not too young to run bill. Despite the growing evidence of youth activism and mobilization, Nigerian youths have yet to achieve the level of inclusion required to gain representation in the politics. My first question will go straight to Mr. Ikenna Nweke. And the question is this: what is hindering Nigerian youths from participating in politics?
Well, thank you so much for having me once again. And I would like to say that there are several factors that hinder Nigerian youth from taking part in active participation in politics. Number one is the structure of Nigerian politics. Nigerian politics, as it is presently constituted, embodies it places a huge impediment on the youth, in the sense that the cost of participating in politics itself. For example, not many Nigerian youth have the financial capacity to compete with the established politicians because of the cost. And number two is the way politics, the way it it is run in Nigeria, requires I wouldn't call it experience in that sense, but I would say that it requires in politics there's something we call there are people who serve as fronts, who now employ you to work for them. Okay, for example, I have a friend who's in the National Assembly and the State Assembly. And for him to go there, he has to be introduced by an established politician. Okay, and then it's like he is serving that man. So the structure of Nigerian politics makes it very, very difficult for somebody to come out from nowhere and emerge and become somebody in politics. So you have to go through the corners. You have to go through somebody. You have to be introduced. You have to have the financial capacity, and you have to run on what they call a structure. Like, do you have the structure? Do you have the structure? So, and this structure are not recent connections. So there are connections that have been built over the years. So it entails that the old people has already occupied that place. So for you to come, you have to go through them. So
are you saying that one of the main factors hindering the Nigerian youth is finance?
Finance is, of course, one of the factors I just mentioned, that having the financial capacity and having the connection.
With low capital stands no chance in anything politics in Nigeria.
We play money politics in Nigeria, and by extension, so many African countries. So, for example, the cost of running an election is enormous. It places a huge burden on the candidates. You have to settle party elites, party stalwarts. You have to have the money to be able to buy vote, because obviously we do a lot of vote buying in Nigeria. So you should have the money.
The vote buying, is it for the voters outside or for the elites?
First, we have a process. You have to emerge as a party candidate. Again, This is a huge money. So for you to be able to emerge as the candidate of your own party, as a flag bearer of your party, you really have to, and that is exactly where the major politicking takes place. Because this, we call it primary election. These party leaders have to endorse you, and you have to settle them. You have to visit them with kola nut. And when we say kola nut in our politics, we are not actually talking about that kola nut. We are talking about having the money. You have to settle party stalwarts. You have to settle party executive. You have to buy them over. During the Congress, people need to queue behind you, right? And then you really need to have the money to emerge first. And secondly, upon emerging as your party's flag bearer, again, you also need to buy votes. We really have to be open about this. Of course, we know it is very, very bad, but that is what happens in our system. This is the kind of system we have today in Nigeria. So you really have to have money.
There's an incident that happened in Anambra State.
I followed out. Yeah, I followed it up. Yeah,
someone actually wanted to pay some individuals to vote for them, and they completely disagreed and disgraced this politician. Do you think the youths are getting to that level of saying no to vote buying? Because this is part of the problem you mentioned that is hindering the youth from participating in politics. Do you think where we are right now, 2023, with the level of information we have, with the level of social media awareness we have, that the youths are ready or they are walking in the right step to say no to vote buying?
No, not at all. Far from that. Actually, what happened in Anambra State is a minor incident. You know, it is not the general understanding of an average Nigerian voter. You know, I mean, what happened in Anambra State? That woman that refused to, collect money, that is miraculous. By our standard in Nigerian politics. So, with the level of poverty in Nigeria today, with the continuous lack of trust in the system, that even my vote does not count. So even if I don't vote for them, they will still win. This kind of nonchalant attitude will definitely increase vote buying in Nigeria in 2023. So we are not really close to having a positive change in the system. It's going to continue to get worse, given the current status quo.
Okay, I will pause it right there because I also have a follow-up question to what you said, but I will move ahead with Nnamdi Achonu. So, African political history is not complete without appreciating the role that youths played in achieving their country's independence. Now, since the country returned to democracy in 1999, youths were at best seen as supporters, mobilizers, or political foot soldiers hired to instigate violence. Here is the question to you, Mr. Achonu. How can party contribute to give young people better opportunities to participate in politics? Lay your emphasis on the two major parties we have, APC and PDP. How can they contribute to giving young people the opportunity to participate in election?
Thank you, my brother. Once again, what is in the Nigerian politics is politics of greed. If there's no greed in Nigerian politics, then the youths have opportunities. Who are the youths? What age do you classify as youths? Which age was Gowon when he was head of state? How old was Nnamdi when they were practicing politics? Awolowo. All of them, how old are they? When they were fighting for the independence of Nigeria. They are the people that are truly Nigerians. They have something in their brain before they are fighting. But in these days now is greed. Greed, the last speaker talked about money. If you cannot beat them, you join them. And for you to join them, you have to obey their rules and the regulations. Why the youth are not participating fully? They are participating now, but why they are not participating fully? It's most exactly about money. The monetary aspect of it. It only comes to when Nigerians like me and you understands what is called free and fair politics in Nigeria, which somebody that's trying to contest or coming to contest and a candidate can come to the masses, have their own group. When the masses contribute for this person, when the masses comes, we need this person. We are not voting for party. We vote for individual. And they have a very good organization that will organize their campaign strategies. Almost 50% of the voters in Nigeria, or more than 50, they are the youths. And when the youths choose somebody, sponsor the person. Mind you, sponsor without fatherism, Godfatherism. Check out when the youths, 50 million Nigerian youths contribute 100 naira, how much it is. Tell me who is going to be the candidate for them. The problem the youths are not participating fully is that they have not come out with a good strategy to beat the elites. The campaign is moving in a modern way now. From social media, you people can connect yourselves to contribute for it. Another thing is, who do you know? Who do you know in Nigeria?
Sorry to cut you short. Sorry to cut you short. You know, 2019, President Buhari was actually, his party was actually pushing for the inclusion of youth in politics. And that was what the vice president showed the youth before the election. Why do you think that till today, there is no place for the youth in the APC government and the PDP government? The percentage of youth participating in APC and PDP government is not up to 30%.
You see, my brother, there's a words used in campaign, and there's word used in ruling, in governing. Time for campaign, they can promise you heaven and earth. Check your record. How many promises that was made by APC that have been fulfilled? That was campaign promises. After campaign, then come the governance. Campaign is different from the one. Now, if you remember, the first term of APC, their first 4 years, they don't have any objective. Even in the federal house, even in the House of Senate. 99.9% of their argument in the House of Senate was the databases of the animals, cows. Now me and you are sitting here arguing. Do you hear about cow again and the grazing again? 2019, they shifted the goalposts to the youth. They brainwashed the youth that we are going to hand over government for you at your hand. We are going to do youth government. We are going to youth are going to participate fully in our party in order to buy the vote of the youth. Everything we are talking about is corruption. That is why, and everybody, let me tell you something. Nigeria is not even going to be better when you hand it over to youth. Sorry? Nigeria is not even going to be better when you hand the country over to the youth.
Are you saying that the corruption of the elites has actually influenced the youth?
There's a proverb in Igbo. When a goat is eating yam, the child of the goat is also watching the father or the mother, how is he eating? So the way our fathers are being corrupt is the way the youths are going to, they are going to even be more corrupt than the elites.
But there are a lot of campaign going on social media, especially on Twitter. People are going on space, speaking out openly about election 2023. And was it last week, former Senate President Saraki was involved in a space discussion with over 9,000 Nigerians discussing about politics. And one of the things I picked out from the space meeting was the youth now that I'm seeing, probably could be social media, they really want to actively involve in politics. Now, if we have such people, think about it. 2020, there was NSAS program. This NSAS actually gave the youth a voice to speak. This youth came out openly and expressed themselves, which went worldwide.
Hold on, Mr. Obinwanne. What did their president say about the NSAS demonstration?
The president can always say what he wants to say.
That they wanted to overthrow his government.
Exactly. This is what he said. But then,
and during the NSAS demonstration, what did the government say? They are going to listen to their demand. Yeah. As I'm talking to you now, some of the people arrested in NSAS protests are still in jail.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is it's a huge step. The youth made a huge step in that NSAS program, even though there are so many things that happened that was
what was the end of the step they made?
It's not about it. You can argue that the progress have not been seen, but then based on what we saw, in 2020 during NSAS protest, it showed each and every one of us that the youth actually wants to participate. The youth actually wants to be involved. But the elite, the corruption of the elite is hindering them. This is the question I'm asking you. You said the youths are corrupt. But think about what the youth has done since 2020 till now. Go on Twitter. There are so many platforms that discuss politics, encouraging people to get their PVC.
And don't forget that there's no voting in social media.
Of course, but speaking out, people are speaking out right now. This is what we are doing. More youths are speaking out. Now, coming to what you said, that the elite politicians has corrupted the youth. Do you think that the way the youth are going now, speaking out on the things that is happening in Nigeria, the borrowing, so many things, that the youth would, if they are given the opportunity to participate, do you think they can enforce a change or do something different from what the elders have been doing?
What happened to Boris Johnson in England is what happened to his brother. I don't follow English politics. Due to decision on Boris Johnson, his brother is also a politician who resigned his post because of his blonde brother's decision. Are you telling me that our elites don't have children?
They do.
They do. And some of them are into politics with their father and play the same role with their father. My brother, that country needs revolution.
Okay, let me move ahead a bit. And first of all, I think we have Barrister Imasi here before. I think he just left. Okay, so I will move my question to Mr. Steve Nweke. This is a follow-up question to what you were saying earlier. And as 2023 election draws closer, amid the gloomy political and economic outlook, Nigerians' young voters and activists are yet again being pushed to consider their role in politics while trying to navigate the relative power of protest and electoral politics as a mode to civic participation. Now, the follow-up question to what you were saying. What role can the youth play to ensure a successful election while fully participating in the election in 2023? You on mute.
Well, I think the Nigerian youths can play several roles. First, as active participants. By active participants, I mean like standing as candidates, to contest in several for several positions, including the presidency. I mean, like they can contest for presidents, for governors, for that is number one. Number two, they can also serve as influencers, influencers. In Nigeria, we've seen people, of course, some of these things might be, for fake rhetorics. We've seen people say that these people, young people, bankers, bought a form for me. So we can also do that. We can support a particular candidate, buy form for a particular candidate. We can also use the power of social media to shift the narrative to our favor. Of course, people as Mr. Ezeribe alluded, people who vote, most of them are not even on social media. But again, we can start something on social media and then let it, spread to the rest of the country outside the media, right? So first, we can support well-meaning young Nigerians to contest. We can also mobilize support for young Nigerians who we believe can make a difference. So contesting, mobilization, or mobilizing for support, using the power of social media to discredit those candidates that we know that don't mean well for the country, especially the old people who we believe. I'm not saying that every old politician is bad, but for those who we believe strongly that they don't mean well for us. So if you are not campaigning to stand as a candidate as a youth, use the social media actively to participate in politics by demarketing crook politicians. So that is number 2. Number 3, ensure that on that day you go out to vote. Right? I have friends who on election days play games at home and they say, we don't want to go. A form of political apathy. If you don't vote in 2023, in 2027, you will stay, after election, you will stay continue with the same, oh, Nigeria is very bad, oh, these leaders are bad. No. So if you cannot stand as a candidate, use the social media effectively to demarcate corrupt politicians. 3, ensure that on that day you go out to vote. You can also mobilize support by educating people, your followers on social media, on why young people should be our ideal candidate and why old people, not generally old people, but old corrupt politicians, people you believe genuinely are not, okay for the country. Sensitize your followers on the social media platforms. That these guys, we can't do with these guys. I think this way you would have also played a huge role.
Okay, I have something to say about that. Think about it. For the past 4 or 5 years, Nigerian youth has been actively participating in Big Brother Nigerian show. Yeah. And this Big Brother Nigerian show, it generates billions to the owners. Do you think if Nigerians can get involved in politics the way they are actively involved in Big Brother Nigerian affairs, the way they spend money, even people calling you from Nigeria, from Japan, asking you for money, they take the money you give them and vote for their favorite candidate in Big Brother. Do you think it's time for Nigerians, the youth who are interested in politics, it's time for them to conscientize the people to channel that same energy towards Big Brother they have in Big Brother towards Nigerian politics? Do you think it's right time for us to speak about it?
Yes, I this narrative has always been sustained that if we use the same vigor with which we support Big Brother Nigeria to talk about politics, to engage actively in politics, that it would make a difference. I agree, hook, line, and sinker. I agree completely. But again, we have to understand that these two scenarios are never the same. We really have to be practical about this. We have a skewed system in politics that favor the existing status quo. I get my point. Let me even say this. If every Nigerian votes, but INEC, which is the Independent National Electoral Commission, decides to be political and not apolitical, the voting again wouldn't make sense. So we really, while I agree that, I support active voting, but we really also need to look at it holistically. Yes, if we channel the same energy with which we support BBN to political issues, a political issue generally, we are going to make a difference. And SARS was a huge point. But if we want to say only during election, remember, some elections are won even before voting starts.
That's right.
And again, the Nigerian Judiciary can again upturn the popular will of the people. We've seen that in some states, right? So this is something we really need the citizens, the young people, to be active in politics, not just in election. They should know that the country belongs to them and that they have a role to play to keep the country going. So not only on election day, they should be part of the policy-making processes, right? For example, some of us live in developed countries where people go on the streets. EndSARS was a point. For example, if there are government policies that for example, I've not seen any Nigerian taken to the street to protest against incessant epileptic power supply that we witness in the country. I don't know if you get my point now.
Yeah.
What will happen? I'll give you a very interesting case study. A couple of years ago, I think it was in 1998, that Nigeria was going to play a match. And before that match, there was a NEPA took light, what we call NEPA taking light in Nigeria, right? And the young people in my area mobilized and went to the NEPA office, protested, and they told us that they would work on it. We said, no, the match was about to start. So, there was this narrative that some people will pay them money to take light so that they will be, especially people who have viewing centers, people who have bars. But when the youth protested, trust me, they brought back the light and we watched them. So this is the part of the youth. I will tell you another interesting case study. In, I think, Ishan Northwest local government, I can't remember vividly, the local government chairman refused to pay. It was in 1990, during Lucky Minedo's administration, when they were paying students what they call bursary awards. This local government chairman refused to pay. And the young people mobilized themselves, went to his office as the local government chairman, and refused him exit. They said, you cannot leave this office until we confirm that, we are not going, don't tell us to go, that you do it tomorrow. We must be here. And the man ordered his, I don't know, maybe accountant general or whatever, and it was done. So now, when we talk about youth participation in politics, we really, really have to look at it holistically. If we focus on an election, the politicians are not idiots. These are smart criminals. Some of them, they know how to skew the system to their own favor. Go and vote. Your vote wouldn't make sense. Go and vote. Your vote might make sense. Your candidate might be declared the winner. Then they go to a court or the tribunal and overturn it. So you have to be a watchkeeper as a candidate, as the youth. We need to be watchmen. We need to be ensure that the policies that the government come up with favor us. If the policy is not favor us, how do we react? This is actually how to keep the government on its tax. So when we keep quiet and believe that it is only on the elections day, and we always make this comparison between BBN and the election day, yes, those things are okay. I'm not disputing. But again, we need to look at the general opinion, look at it holistically, how it will favor us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Doc. I want to use the opportunity to welcome Barrister Iyare Imasi, who is a barrister in Germany. Thank you for joining us, Barrister Imasi. And also, I want to welcome Dr. Ezeribe, who just joined now. Thank you, Doc.
Thanks very much, Obin, for having me.
Also, Ifani, thank you for being part of the audience. So, I'll be asking a follow-up question to Mr. Achonu. You made a very, very valid point regarding the youth watching what the elites are doing could or might corrupt them. Now, my question to you goes this way. The active participation of youth in politics must be seen as a beacon of hope for attaining purposeful and sustainable political leadership and stability. Are the youths ready to drive the nation to a prosperous destination if the elite politician steps aside? For example, 2027 is in 5-6 years. Do you think if the elite decide to say, okay, youths take over, what hope do we have that the youths are going to do something different from what the elites have done?
What are you looking up to in your life? If you understand what you are looking up to in your life, then you understand what our youth are looking up to into politics. The easiest way to be overnight millionaire in Africa or in Nigeria is to join politics.
That's right.
And when they join politics, whether they have joined it in local level or in federal level or in state level, their eyes, they are looking up to something. And that something is to go and grab their national cake. It can get only 2% of the youth in that country that have that country in mind.
True, I agree. Completely agree with you.
This youth. It is happening here in my state, in K, when the elite revised to being the executive of the Nigerian community here in K and gave it to youth. Everything is in shambles. Yes, you can put the youth into the politics, but not the elites to stand up from the seat and go out and ask them to sit down. They will mess everything up. They can be bringing them in a gradual process, bleeding them, training them into politics in a clear way, not in a corrupt way. The youth they are talking about, what is them? The one in assembly in Lagos, Elliot or what? Is he not a youth?
Desmond Elliot.
Desmond Elliot. Is he not a youth? The bills in that assembly that is only aware or concerns him, it's only the bill that give him contract. And those contracts give it to the Sankofa and Pharisees that are around him. I'm telling you, I'm not advocating against them, against the youth. But what I'm asking, if they can bring them gradually in a gradual process to put them inside. Don't forget that you are talking about youth. The ex-Senate president you mentioned, Bukara Saraki, was a youth when he was a governor of Kwara State. Kogi states have a youth governor. What is he doing? Is he not a mafia? Is he not a mafia? The only way, like I said before, the youth can participate fully is to collaborate with the elites, with the elders, and always bring them to the limelight of the standard of the living, standard of the where the earth is now. Me and you know, bring out Nigerian senators or upper house. Some of them goes there to collect their sitting allowance. You don't know what they would be, they argued. Some of them are sleeping there. It is those people that we can change from them to the youth if the greedy one will accept to step down for the youth. Nigerian politics is a dirty politics. If you cannot kill them, they will kill you. For you to enter Nigerian politics, you have to be brutal. It is true, it is when, as we are talking and crying about it, Rome was not built in a day. We can also make up something from it. Why Nigeria will survive under use? If Nigeria will change their constitution and put a very strict constitution into anything concerning corruption, put corruption charges in Nigeria as a capital offense, then you will see some changes. There will be die-hard people, but there will be some changes. Former president of Ghana, the late Ronald, he said one of our problems in Africa is because we adopted European system of their life. Can you bring somebody from the north that won the election, instead of swearing him in with Quran, swear him with what we known before? Bring him to shrine. Bring that person, forget about Bible, bring that person to shrine and swear that they are going to serve us and obey the law of the land, and that they are not going to do that and do that. All of them swear with the Bible because they know that the Bible is not going to do them anything. They will enter there and do whatever they want. I would like the youth to take over the country. Our problem lies on us, like I always say, lies on us.
Is there a solution to this problem?
There's a solution. There's nothing in this world that have no solution. Even dead, the solution is to bury the person. There's a solution. Check out what is happening in in Francophone countries, in West African countries. They are realizing where their problem is coming from. Their problem are coming from their colonial masters. Check out from since 2000 and 2020, the coups that are happening in West African countries, in Francophone countries. And where are they heading? Heading to the Soviet Union, all of them. Because they have seen that Soviet Union or Russia is the only person that can stand before the NATO or Commonwealth countries. Our problem started from our colonial masters. And there's no truth about, we don't tell ourselves the truth. Although all those countries I mentioned have nothing, they are nothing to do with Nigeria in population and in masses. That is the problem. We can fight it when we want.
Thank you, Mr. Achonu. Thank you. Just to remind our audience, you are very much free to ask questions. If you want to ask questions, just raise your hands. You can channel your question to the speakers, and then they will answer your questions. And I will switch the question to next question to Dr. Ezeribe. Doctor, the Not Too Young to Run bill was instituted to provide inclusion for the youth in the political governance of the nation. Nevertheless, the bill is yet to gain popular recognition and implementation. The question is, what is the nature and significance of the Not Too Young to Run bill?
Well, thanks, Obi, for that question. I'll first of all say that make the facts open. Our constitution requires a Nigerian president to be at least 35 years of age. So, that is telling us that the constitution by its provision encourages young people to contest. If you want to contest for a vice president, you must be 35 years old. If you want to be a senator, you must be 35 years old. For you to be a governor, you must be at least 30 years old. And then to go to House of Rep, you must be 25 years old. So this is constitution, it's already there. Not Too Young to Run bill is great, but I think our problem is fundamental in the sense that political parties make contesting of elections very expensive. And that is the only problem why youth don't get to contest, because it is very, very expensive for a poor youth to contest. A youth with ideas cannot contest an election in Nigeria because he won't be able to fund it, okay? So that is the basic problem. Coming to the bill itself, I think the bill has not received the amount of attention it desires because the players, the people that are supposed to push it are benefactors of the issues that the bill stands to address, right? So if the bill is passed and young people take over, what we are saying is that the people that are currently there, we go and we all retire. They don't want to do that. That is why that they are not pushing the bill. That is the fact. So if we want the bill to be pushed, I think it's going to be some young people who want to change the narrative. And I think the only narrative we want to change is, one, I think it's two key points. One, we want to make sure that the cost of purchasing, forms, for instance, is cheap. That is going to be one. For instance, somebody should be able to, use something like 500,000 naira to buy a ticket to be a Nigerian president. That makes it very affordable for an average civil servant. Even if you cannot do that, a group of friends who are supporting you can raise that money and buy tickets for you. That's one thing. Two is, we need to cut the cost of governance. What do I mean? So the president of Nigeria, the vice president, the senators, supposed to be receiving salaries that are equivalent to what professionals are receiving. For instance, if someone can study, be a bachelor's, yes, go to primary school, go to secondary school, study your bachelor's, do your master's, do your PhD, and become a professor. And you're capped currently in Nigeria at 450,000 naira. Why then should a president or a senator be receiving over 25 million per month? So those are the problems. These things should be, be controlled. If a senator and a professor is receiving about the same amount, let's say if a professor is receiving 450,000, a senator should be receiving about 600,000. What that is going to make a senator to think about is there are other avenues in the country to make that kind of money. So he cannot.
Do you think the judiciary are ready to make this change you are speaking about, the change of cutting cost?
I think the judiciary will not make that change. They will not push for it because they are beneficiary. But what will happen is, I think these are ideas that we are dropping in the media space. A lot of people will see it. I think at a point, the president will rise, whether we like it or not, who will implement this. A president will rise, who will cut his salary, okay? By example, cut his salary to say 700 or 1 million, and then cut that of senators below him. So that the judiciary will fight it. The legislature will fight it as well. But I think when the Nigerian masses vote to support it, the role of the judiciary should be suppressed. The role of the legislature will be suppressed because the constitution is made for the citizens. And there are over 210 million Nigerians. If a legislature of 300 people are pushing against an idea that a president has presented, supported by, say, for instance, 150 million Nigerians, I don't see how legislators can be able to handle that. So what evidence a president needs is an evidence showing that majority of Nigerians are in support of what he's doing. He implements it, cost salary of everyone. If you don't want to remain in Senate, you go home. We need a president that can do that. As soon as we get that right, people will stop killing others to go to Senate because they know they can do businesses and make that money or more. So people that are interested in money will go to business. People that want to, fix the nation will come in and fix it because it is not all about money. It is all about being able to eat, feed your family while you're working for Nigerians, okay? Then when you finish, if Nigeria wants to take care of you, they will take care of you.
Doctor, your point actually makes sense, and it has shifted me to a different question right now. This question will go to Steve.
Thanks very much.
This question is about Godfatherism. Steve Nweke, politics of Godfatherism has become part and parcel of the political condition of actualizing the political dreams of many contestants in Nigeria. Politics of Godfatherism has eaten deep into political movement of many nations, Nigeria inclusive. Politics of Godfatherism has affected the political and economical development of Nigeria. Is Godfatherism still hampering the Nigerian politics, especially in the state and local government system?
I think that is exactly what I mentioned in the first point. We have a system that that is structured in a way that, excuse me. Okay, so we have a system that is structured in a way that it is very, very difficult for you to penetrate without having somebody who will stand behind you, who will support you, who will usher you in, and help you navigate the system. And that's exactly where Godfatherism comes in. And we really have to be clear about this. It is not a recent development. By different calculations, one can say that Nnamdi was the godfather of people like Jim Nwobodo. You know, he was also the godfather of Michael Obara because he eventually vacated power for him. So it's not, Godfatherism to some extent is not really, shouldn't be, it's part of politicking. So it shouldn't be, you know, but when you have a system where you have a vampire elite, and now this is where it becomes a problem. So, for example, I consider myself a credible Nigerian, but I'm not in Nigeria. So if I decide to go back to my state, Imo State, to contest, I don't have an existing structure. I might, talk to the leaders of thought there and say, I am interested in this. Now, the first thing is they consider me as somebody who's qualified. And they say, okay, we can support you to achieve this. We are like, sure, but you can help us in some sense, because politics is not something, it's give and take, in every part of the world. Okay, but again, it's what are you giving? What are you taking? That is where it becomes dangerous. Okay, if what you are giving is, we are going to, not just money, but we are going to ensure that we support you, mobilize people to support you. But when you go in, we expect you to give us effective representation, or if you're in the executive arm of government, okay, we expect you to appoint our qualified sons or daughters into positions of authority like commissioners and stuff. That is not bad, right? So, but Godfatherism in Nigeria is something else because we have a vampire elite. I'll give you several case studies. Or in your state, when Let Adedebu was held swear, it was, he had to fight basically every governor in your state, until he died. We saw that in Anambra State when the House of Assembly, the national, the state secretariat complex was set ablaze by higher talks because of the disagreement between a godfather and the governor. So what we have in Nigeria is a system where people invest money because they don't have perhaps the good name or the good image, or they feel like they are too big to hold certain positions. Now it becomes a huge business. They bring their money, and then they begin to look for those who can help them because it's business. Now they bring you and invest in you, and now tell you this is what is actually going on in Nigeria. And I'm saying this because I believe I am privy to several, my position, by virtue of my position, right? Now, this is what happens. Somebody brings money, invest in the governor, invest, and ask somebody to become the governor, and then signs an agreement. And remember, in this whole conversation, the interest of the state is not considered at all. Now we have to sign money. When you get the allocation, the monthly allocation, for example, if it is 2 billion naira, you are going to give me 1 billion naira, and you have to work with 1 billion naira. Now, that's what. Have you ever considered why some state governors can't even pay salaries? The thing is this. Okay,
sorry, Steve. I want to take you back to something that happened in our state, Anambra State, where we grew up. You remember during Ngige and the Uba family?
I alluded to that.
Now, so we all knew what Ngige did, and that made Ngige very popular in Anambra State. As a matter of fact, his 2 years or 18 months in Anambra State was an eye-opener for every Anambrian because of what he did, because of his brave decision not to connive or work with his godfather. I want to ask you a question on that. We see what Ngige did, and we applauded Ngige for what he did. What are the proper solution of Godfatherism? Because if you, for example, you might decide to run for governor in Imo State, which you are right to do that. And of course, based on the system in Nigeria, someone running for governor in a state should have at least 5 to 10 billion before you run for that post.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that, okay, probably you don't have this money and you need a godfather to help push you towards that direction. What is the solution? You made a very valid point that when they are signing that contract, the matters of the state was not taken into action. They don't care about the state. It's just a business transaction. Now, what is the solution to make this right? Because we are talking about youth in politics. Youth who don't have that money. A lot of youth who are interested in participating in politics, they don't have this money to participate. Now, if a youth meets somebody, probably somebody from the state who is a big shot, and this person push him to the direction of his dream, what do you think is the solution of connecting this Godfatherism and the interests of the state to help push the state forward?
Okay, now the thing is this. That is one thing all of us have agreed on here, that the cost of running an election in Nigeria is exorbitant. And that is actually why I can go to somebody, because I'm desperate to hold a political position, right? I can go to somebody who ordinarily I should have no transaction with, and then the person comes up with certain conditions if you do this. So if we reduce the costs of, taking part in active politics, in electoral campaigns, now this can also reduce the impact. But now let me take you back to what you said. I am in a position now where a lot of people have started even talking to me on politics. When are you coming home? What I can. But sometimes I look at people talking to me, and I often see that these guys don't have my interest. They are not calling me because they like me. They are not calling me but they believe that I'm sellable, and that now they can project me and then use me to achieve their own dreams. I get to my point, like this person is going to, we are presenting him, but behind the scene, we already have a contract. So the thing is this: if we can reduce the cost of politics, it can make an average Nigerian, to spare. I can spare a few millions, right, to campaign. But as you know, I can't waste everything I have because I want to go to National Assembly.
How do we reduce this cost? Think about it. You have to buy the form from your party, and you have to meet the godfathers, because I believe most of us participated in university politics, and we know how it went through. You have to buy the form, meet the godfathers, lobby, do other things you're supposed to do just to get the ticket for the party. And again, doing the grassroots politics also involve money. How do we cut down this cost? Do we cut down the cost from the tickets, from the party chairman and godfathers, or from the grassroots conscientization?
No, what I mean, we really, really need to take government and governance serious. It is not try your luck. We need to consciously put policies in place. For example, no political party should sell gubernatorial form for more than 500,000 naira. We need to cheapen it. We need to make it affordable. We need to put policies in place to ensure that this is actually what happens. This is the way we want to build our country. This is the way we want to run our system. And one of the biggest bans of our politics today is we no longer have independent candidates. I get to my point, because that is actually, people, if we have such a system, if we still have it, now I can actually go and pick a form to run for governor, and then it depends on how effective I'm able to mobilize people, right? That I could win, but we no longer have such system. So first, we need to put policies in place, and that policy will also, part of the policies is sanction. You do not spend more than this in a campaign. So again, by the way, we see people raise funds for campaigns.
That's true.
In America, in Nigeria. But the problem with that of Nigeria is no accountability, right? In America, you have to be accountable for every single dollar you raise for the purpose of your campaign. In Nigeria, we don't see that. So people actually, get money. How can let me say this? We have a saying in our place. Onyeji eji achụ aja. Kediza no chọrọ ijide. Are you getting my point? When you spend 5 billion naira because you want to become a governor, the first thing you should do is to recoup your money, right? So the cost is exorbitant, it's enormous. We can't, if we continue this way, we will keep telling the same story.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Steve Nweke. We've discussed a lot about youth in politics, and then we've raised different topics regarding this. I want to divert a bit, and I would like to invite Barrister Imasi on this topic. And this topic is about Nigerian judiciary. Barrister, the dust raised by the ICPC in East Damin report, which indicates that the Nigerian judiciary is the most corrupt index in between 2018 and 2020 is yet to be settled. ICPC reports had claimed that about 9.45 billion was offered and paid as bribery in lawyers to the sectors. How do we eradicate corruption in the Nigerian judiciary system?
Yeah, hello, gentlemen. Are you guys hearing me?
Perfect.
Yeah, so before I will go into that, I'll like to emphasize on what Mr. Anthony Ezeribe and Ikenna has been saying. Here where we are, the people that brought democracy to us in Nigeria, they don't practice it the way Nigerians are practicing it. Yeah. So, yeah, the colonial masters that brought you guys democracy, it is not that way they are practicing it. In this country where we are, this is a great country called Germany. If you want to campaign for an office, you don't need to pay money, you don't need to buy a form, you don't need to do anything. The only thing you do, you go out and speak to people, people believe what you are saying, and they know you are the right person, they vote for you. Finish. That's all. And because if you are going there, many people don't want to go into politics here because politics is, they said, is a very hard job. You don't have a private life anymore. On weekend you are working, in the night you are working, in the midday you are working. You devote your whole life to serve your people. And these people that we have in Nigeria, they never understood that they are civil servants. From Buhari to whoever is in the local government office and whoever is in the ministry, they are all civil servants. They are there to serve their people, to serve our people and take care of our people in Nigeria. Angela Merkel once said here, if the people of Germany don't eat, she don't have the right to eat. She don't have the right to eat. So this thing, because Mr. Ezeribe was talking about these exorbitant salaries. Who made the laws for them to get the exorbitant salaries? Is it not they themselves? They entered there because the mumus that we have in Nigeria, in Africa, is too much. It's like the day many of us came out of our mother's stomach, before we even came out, we have lost our senses. We have lost our senses. Here in Germany, they are laughing at us. Anytime I'm talking about this thing with my colleagues, they are telling me every time, you people don't have anybody who can think then. Huh? In Africa, you don't have people that can think. They don't have senses at all. Yeah. Because they have been seeing what is happening. Because if you change, that is what the guy probably Ikenna has been saying. Godfatherism, Godfatherism. Why should there be Godfatherism in politics? It's because they have entered into parliament, changed the laws. Like in Edo State, if you want to become a governor, you have to buy a form for almost 25 million naira. Because you take only a form. And it's not that you are choosing, only for you to take a form. Who brought those laws there? So how will a normal person go into politics? The man that we have here that is ruling this country now, Olaf Scholz, is from a very, 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 very poor family. Because of the system, he was able to go to school and became a lawyer like me, and then later he decided to enter into politics. So we are having, there are a lot of problems going on there. So, but this bribery of a thing, this justice, the justice in Nigeria has failed. Immediately the colonial masters left us, the justice failed. Because the people that were fighting the colonial master that were telling us that they can lead us, they should go. We are going to lead our people. They couldn't lead us. They only came there to occupy the beautiful houses of the colonial masters. And from there, they started suppressing us till today. So the justice of Nigeria, I used to talk about Bola Ige. You people know him. He was a federal attorney general. If such a man can be killed, can be murdered in his house, and there's no investigation, you people should forget about a country called Nigeria. During the time of Obasanjo, that man was killed when he was making breakfast in his parlor. Till today, there's no investigation. When he was going to Nigeria, it is written in Wikipedia, people can read it. When he was going to Nigeria, his friends in the UK were telling him, what are you going to do? They said, I want to go and serve my nation. I want to go and serve my nation. I cannot be here. They told him not to go, but he refused. And he went there, he found his death. So, to come around, the educational system is not there. The problem we have mostly in Nigeria is education. Our people are not educated. They are not educated at all. Anybody who goes to university and have a degree and says he's a professor, even somebody who goes to primary school here have a better feeling than them in terms of human life, living with humans together. Here, they take care of each other, no matter where you are from. Nobody cares about your color. Nobody cares whether you wash your teeth or not. Nobody cares about what you wear. They take care of each other because they see themselves as one. The justice has failed for a very long time. Police, so whether it's police, whether it's army, whether it's state lawyer, whether the judges, everything has failed us already. It never started today. It never started today.
Is there hope for Nigerians when it comes to the judiciary? Do we have hope of making this a better platform for Nigerians?
Hope in the judiciary, whether it's in the judiciary or the country as itself, there's no hope. If you ask me, because I've been hearing about the ages people are mentioning there, normally anybody who is more than 50 years of age should not take a public office in Nigeria. Should not take a public office. Because they are not in a position, they are not dynamic enough. They are not dynamic to quarrel in the parliament for the right direction. They cannot visit the proper places where things are happening in the country and speak to the people. They don't have the energy anymore. You need people who are coming out. There's what like what they do in America every time. Speak to the nation, what the president does every time, or equally here in Germany. When things are happening, the president will come, like a chancellor will come out and speak to the nation and explain his politics to the nation, what he's doing for the people of the country. It's about the people of the country. That is not what is happening in Nigeria. Our politicians don't talk about the people of the country. If you ask them today, why do you want to go into politics? Why are you having a nation, an office? They cannot tell you what they are doing for their people. And even if you ask a Nigerian politician today, what is your duty? If you ask a governor now in Nigeria, or a local government chairman, or a senator, what is your duty, you as a senator? They will not even know what to tell you. But if you ask a German will tell you from A to Z what he's supposed to do and what he's doing for the nation.
True, I agree with you on that. I have a question for you. You said there is no hope in the judiciary. What will you tell the youth in Nigeria? What would be your advice to the youth in Nigeria in this perplexing situation we are in Nigeria? What will you advise the youth to do?
The youth in Nigeria too, they are divided. In their opinion, they are divided because everything is about money in Nigeria presently. Everything is about money. If they can collaborate together and form their own party, Because I heard that one of you were saying that you don't have independent party anymore. I don't know why is it not possible in a democratic society to form a party. In Germany, here people are forming parties every day. In a democratic society, in any country who is practicing democracy, the chance must be open for anybody, for people to form a party of their own. That is why it is called democracy, and not democracy. Yeah, that is why it's called democracy. And if democracy is formed, my brother, the problem in our place, it is not what we can even talk even from 20 years. Yeah, because starting from the whole communities, there are always chiefs and kings and whoever, and our culture will not allow us to grow. Our culture will not allow us to grow. And this culture is the culture of elders. The same thing now with elders. It's the culture of the elders that will never make Nigeria or Africa. It's not only Nigeria now, it's all of Africa. Culture, elders. And these elders are bringing young people into a pit, and they are falling into West, but they will still tell you they are elders. We have to follow them. We have to follow them. Here where we are in this country, Germany, the best opinion can come from a child, and it will be implemented by the nation. As far as the opinion is good for the whole nation, it will be implemented. We are having this thing in Nigeria. An Igbo man will bring a good idea. They will say, it's because an Igbo man. A Yoruba will bring an idea, say, an Yoruba man. And Hausa will bring an idea, an Hausa man. So how can you grow? How can you grow if the right things that are supposed to be done are not done? Because of tribes and tribalism and kings and queens and chiefs. Yeah? Many of you guys are staying in the Western world here. You go to Nigeria and go and take a chieftaincy title. Or you country would not that they give a chieftaincy title. What are you doing with that rubbish?
I would have loved to give you a follow-up question, but today we decide to cut our time because we want to make it 1 hour 30 minutes. Before
I sent the question to Mr. Anthony Ezeribe.
Okay.
I wanted to know for him which people made those laws for the exorbitant salaries.
Do you want me to respond now, Ogobi? Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks, Imasi, Barrister Imasi, for your contribution on that question. I mean, I understand your frustration. Is a hopeless situation back home, but nevertheless, we cannot abandon Nigeria. How we got to the point where we are is our creation mainly, because if you look at where Nigeria was during colonization, it is looking as if we were doing better during colonization than now, right? Take the Naira to dollar conversion rate. Okay, Naira as at 1980, for instance, was 1 Naira was equivalent to $1.50. So and see the devaluation from then till date, it has taken us to over 500 Naira today. So there is strong indication that we were better prior to 1960, just after 1960, and then problems started. So that's clear. So answering your question directly, we were part of the problems. Our leaders were part of the problem, but we cannot just push it to the leaders because the followership is a tax as well. There is a duty for citizens to checkmate politicians. For instance, when it's time to select a leader, you have the option to vote anyone. It doesn't matter whether the person is in PDP, whether the person is in CNC, whether the person is NRC. The party doesn't matter. You as a person are supposed to assess the candidate and vote. It doesn't matter whether they give you money. Even if they give you money, take the money, put it in your pocket, go there and vote. the right thing is that you vote for the right candidate, because that person will be in charge of the country in the next 4 years. So as soon as you compromise that, you basically killed the nation, whether it's at state level, whether it's at local government level, or at the federal level. So yes, our leaders created the Constitution, although it was the Constitution we are using now as amended was first created by the military regime. Okay, it was written by 2 people, pushed on all Nigerians, and we've been doing amendments all the while. So what we actually need is at some point to call a conference for Nigerians to come together to discuss the Constitution, how we want to be a nation. But the ideas I was given before was what I consider very important, that we don't need to call a meeting. If Buhari today can stand up and cut salaries of everyone, I mean, this night, Nigeria will change. If Buhari can cut salary of senators this night, okay, by tomorrow morning, people will start resigning.
Okay, Doc, I think your point is made, as you made a very clear point, and I believe Barrister Imasi got your point.
Can I respond to that?
Wait, Mr. Obinwanne. What Dr. Ezeribe said, you cannot cut a salary like that without not making laws. It is law. The law, only Buhari cannot just come out and say they want to cut salary. It's democracy.
Yeah, let me give you an idea of how that can be done. There is a way to do it, and then we can go to court. The court can decide. Assuming Buhari comes out this night, work with MTN and Glo, and tell Nigerians that this is what he wants to do. He wants to cut salary of politicians. He's including that of president. That they should vote with their phone, whether they support it or not. Every Nigerian vote yes or no. So Glo and MTN collect the data this night. It's not something that that needs any preparation. You collect the data and store it. Tomorrow morning you implement. Then let's go to court. The court will decide whether the vote of Nigerians is not, considered over the vote of the legislature. So I think,
Doc, I'm sorry to cut you short. I want us to give our answers short and simple so that it will accommodate others who want to speak. I will give the platform to Ikenna to speak, and then later Mr. Achonu will go ahead. Ikenna, please, you raise your hand, you can go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I was going to, say the same thing, that the president has no right, has no power conferred on him to reduce or to determine the salary of public servants. So there is a special office responsible for that, and it has to, even if it has to be altered, go through some legal processes. Having said that, we have to understand that the Nigerian senators, the president and governors, their salaries are not that huge. The salary, the basic salary. Now, this is where it gets so messy. They have built structures that they make more money other than what you will refer to as their basic salary. Now, a Nigerian governor, my salary is not more than 10 million naira at the end of every month. But he has several allowances. For example, a senator has special assistant, has what they call constituency allowance or budget. So this is actually how these guys make. They have put certain systems in place that now help them to milk the system. So when you think about their basic salary, they will just tell you, this is my salary. And they are right about that. But can we, look at the loopholes that they have created, that through which they amass wealth? And again, I will say this before, I don't know if I will have time to say it again. It is not only at the federal level. We also look at what states governors are doing. For example, apart from their salary, do you know that at the time they are about to retire or to hand over, almost all the state governors put laws in place that they will, their pension system, right? They will receive 100% of their salaries. They will receive 2 houses, one in Abuja, one in Lagos. They will receive security allowance. They go to state assembly, will change their cars every 4 years. They will be paying their almost everything. Now this is a burden on the states, right? So when we think about the cost of governance and we emphasize on salaries, we will miss the key thing. We will look at the structures that these guys have put in place that still makes them to amass wealth, even when they are no longer there, or even when they are still there. And again, sorry, let me say this: the cost of governance. Let me say this: you have, for example, you have a state governor. He has minister of commissioner for finance. There is permanent secretary, minister of finance. The governor has special assistant on finance matters. The commissioner has special assistant. The commissioner for finance has a special assistant. So you look at all these, loopholes. We waste a lot on governance. Thank you.
Okay. Before I give Nnamdi, Achonu, and Barrister Imasi, I want to add to what Ikenna is saying. When we are speaking about the salaries of governor, I googled about it on NigerianFinder.com. The total salary is 11.5 million. Basic salary is 2,200,000. Leave allowance 222,000 naira. Vehicle loan 400% of the annual basic salary, and then end of tenure gratuity 6,670,000. I don't know if this fact is correct, but I just saw this.
No, it's correct. Yeah, it's correct.
Yeah, I'll give Nnamdi the platform to speak. After Nnamdi, I'll give Barrister Imasi the platform to speak.
You see, when we are going to begin have a decent conversation about corruption, it's only when the politicians can accept the truth. If corruption is a championship in Nigeria, the presidency is the defending champion. The legislators, they are the run-up champions. So, in any way, both the Speaker of House of Assembly or House of Representatives, all of them are corrupt. They shouldn't kill themselves. And this have been eating Nigeria for a very long time. In every office you are going, any person given post in Nigeria, the people that surrounded him is their political sycophants, the relatives. And they are the ones that are going to harbor and build up any task that they're going to do against them. The huge salary you are talking about, that huge salary you are talking about, the people that are earning and the people that are surviving from that huge salaries are the people that are assistants. You will see somebody that have, let's for example, a senator. A senator have a special assistant of the senator in press, special assistant to the senator in house allowance, special assistant to the senator in vehicle allowance. And this special assistant have another special assistant that is following him. And when you see a senator and see his offices and the people and sacrifices that are following him behind, you see that they line up the way they eat the money. I could remember when Jonathan was in power. For you to book an appointment to see the president, you have to walk through a close friend that will direct you to the assistant, to the CGS, and all those things cost you. How many people who pays $10,000? So pay $5,000 just to see the president. And the president is not aware of those things. That's what I call corruption. And the only way, like what Dr. Anthony said, it's not only cutting off their salaries. It cut off the governance of them, the way they live their life. And we cannot do it in an amicable way, because nothing goes up in Nigeria comes down. If you don't fight it, look, when you say, look, our country, the problem we have in Nigeria is lack of governance. Like government of APs have failed Nigeria woefully. To the extent, the other day I wrote in my Facebook, it is the Central Bank of Nigeria is now a part of the presidency, because everything that is happening in Nigeria is collaborated with the Central Bank. They make the masses to suffer and go more hard, because when the masses are suffering, them in government are enjoying it. Now the federal government have already want to put out a policy. In Nigeria, there's a lot of policies implemented by the people, individuals, not by our federal house. Now Central Bank wants to stop to sell forests to the banks. Where are they going to buy? So if I want a foreign currency, I will go to Central Bank direct. Central Bank started to implement electronic invoice. Somebody seated in his office and said, no, electronic invoice will be good for the Nigerians if it start from next week. And the importers that their goods is already on the way, what are they going to do? A woman in Navdak who was living abroad woke up one morning and said Nigerians that they don't want any sachet drink or small bottles drink or that are causing nuisance or causing dirtiness in the country. And this is a woman that are living abroad. I was asking when they are talking about it, this woman that's living abroad, in abroad, don't they have a small quantity of drinks, selling them in a supermarket?
And recycle after use. That
is the problem. The woman didn't think is about recycling, because she didn't like that thing. He put it as a policy instead of talking about how to recycle all those plastic. That is the problem we have. Any person that give a position in Nigeria, he wants to implement his own what he dislike or what is like to the people, whether it's good or bad. So we, to go forward in that country, we need to hold the bull by the horn.
I believe your comment is also in support to what Dr. Rabbi is saying.
Yeah, no matter whatever it costs us, there are some people that will sacrifice for the tomorrow to be better. Without no sacrifice, there will be no corruption.
Okay,
there will be no corruption.
Thank you, Mr. Achonu. I will give Barrister Imasi the mic to speak, and after Barrister Imasi, I'll give Dr.
Yeah, all these things you guys are talking about, it has been spoken since many years, Nigeria and equally abroad. All these things are all corruption, and Nigerians are not ready to fight corruption. Because to fight corruption is very easy. It's very easy to fight corruption. They should do it the way the Western world is doing it. Like here in our country, here in Germany, every worker has a working contract. In the working contract is written how much you earn per hour, how much you earn per day, how much you earn in a month, and how much you earn in a year. And then, if you want to build a house, you go to a place to register your house, and then you will submit, you tell them where your capital is coming from, where you want to, the money you have, you want to build your house with. And it will be investigated. If you are driving a luxurious car, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, or what they are called, all these wonderful cars, there's a place you go and register them. So then we now come back to salary. Members of the parliament here too, is written in a parliamentarian law how much you earn in a month, how much you earn in a year. Everything is written there. So if you are earning as a normal worker in this country 20,000 euros, all of a sudden you are driving a car for 100,000, they take the car away from you. which means you got the money to buy that car in a corrupted way. And it does not end there. You have to go to court. From court, they send you to prison. So corruption is very easy to fight. Our people are not ready to fight corruption. They are not ready to fight corruption. Because all these guys, like what you said before, Mr. Dr. Ezeribe, you are very correct. I don't know maybe whether you are living in Germany. In Germany, the salary of the highest judges is the same salary with a parliamentarian, federal parliamentarian, they pay them. You don't earn more than that. And a professor as well. Here we have 3 categories of professors. The highest professor earns 7,000–8,000 euros in a month. And it's the salary of a federal judge in the Federal Constitutional Court. And it's the same salary that a member of the federal parliament earns in a month. And nothing more than that. So they don't have allowance. No allowance here, allowance there, pint allowance, wife allowance, shoe allowance, my allowance, allowance. They don't have all those kind of things. Because anybody who wants to take that office, you are dedicated to serve the nation. You are a civil servant. You are serving your nation. And your nation will be proud of you.
Because there is a system in place for this. Our problem
now they tell you now when the colonial masters were with us, this system was functioning.
That is what
the system was functioning then when they were with us. It was functioning. People that drove them away, they only occupied the beautiful houses and the beautiful places of the colonial masters. That was what they wanted and started suppressing us. They never had any idea. They never had any idea. Many of us that came here from Nigeria, when you enter here for your first time, you get a shock of your life. But an Australian person who come here will not experience shock because it's the same thing like in his own home. A Canadian will not experience a shock. And somebody from Singapore will not experience a shock. Because when they were with us, this same thing that these people had here, they left it behind for us so that we'll continue with it. So that anywhere we go, we feel at home. But our people never wanted it. Well, our people said they want their own freedom, they want to do their own thing their own way. Well, so everything that I do according to Fela, that is where we are today.
Well, Barrister,
so this corruption of a thing is very easy to fight corruption. It's very easy. You build up a squad, here where we are, the finance office, the police, the government knows every single human being. They know who you are, they know how much you earn, they know the qualification you have, they know where you are going to work. Everything is known because the system is completely controlled for the betterment of the whole people of the country. So anybody who enters into parliament and starts changing laws to suit themselves, the press will fire them and expose the whole thing.
Well,
everybody will go on the street.
Well,
because this thing that we are saying every time. Let me just make one statement before we finish. Before you take over, please. There are some small ghettos we have in this country. No? In those small ghettos, no African president will even win an election there. Because these people here, they are so clever and so intelligent that you cannot even tell them anything. They know you are going to play them while you're already. So our main problem is education. Education. Expose everything. Because when I'm here, I'm seeing a lot of things are happening in Nigeria. We have engineers, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have mathematicians, we have road constructor. All these people, they don't come out to talk. They don't come out to talk. Now coronavirus is going on. Normally the doctors should be talking, telling their people on television how important hygiene is, how important it is to vaccinate yourself. We're here where our doctors are the ones talking about it. Doctors. So when it's time to construct road, the engineers will come out. Yeah. When it's time to talk about schools, teachers will come out. Teachers will start talking. Nobody will come there and say, who is not the teacher is not allowed to talk there. Who is not a doctor now is not allowed to talk about medicine. Now, who is not an engineer is not allowed to talk about construction. Now, who is not an agriculturist is not allowed to talk about farm. That is what we have been experiencing here since we have been here in the Western world. Our people, they are there. Somebody who study agriculture, he goes to the bank and start working in the bank. So somebody, you see, so, but when the colonial masters were there, these things were not happening. I have many people in my village. If you cannot go to school that time, you learn a handwork. We have carpenters, we have bricklayers, we have what they call roofers, we have all kinds of tailors. That time, everybody had something to do. Yeah? Today now, go to politics now is not a profession. Being a politician is not a profession. It's not a profession in the Western world.
In Nigeria,
the politician means to serve your people. That is what it means here, to go and serve your people.
In Nigeria, it is.
Not a profession.
Okay. Barrister, I completely understand where you're coming from. And just to add to what you said, my first week in Germany, I look back to what I went through in Nigeria, in Futo. My first week in university here in Germany, I felt that my 5 years in Nigeria was absolutely a waste. 5 years in studying petroleum engineering. I came here, I did my master's for 2 years. And you see the system, you see the level of things you learn. You notice that in Nigeria, we have this good platform, but Nigerians, we love to suffer. We love to suffer. Tell me, how many countries can you study engineering for 5 years? We love to stress ourselves like in Futo, before you do this, it's strong. This is what is killing us. We love that. Yes, I struggle to do this. Why will you be suffering to do what you want to do? Anyway, it's a different topic. I want to give Dr. Ezeribe the mic to speak right now. Doc, go ahead.
Thanks very much, Obi. I want to take maybe 5 minutes or so to conclude. I want to quickly react to what Ikenna said. Ikenna was trying to make a point that there is a due process to change salary of civil servants and the politicians. I agree, yes. But this is a problem in Nigeria. This is one of the key problems. Why is it a problem? I will tell you. A senator in Nigeria can actually buy policemen who will be sleeping in his house, following his cars everywhere he goes. The only reason he can do that is because he can afford it. So for us to solve that problem, to remove those policemen from them, make them an ordinary Nigerian who can afford only 1 car or 2, is to reduce their salaries, right? So this is a critical problem, okay? So how can we do that? Executive order. It has been done. Since Buhari entered, he has signed 10 executive orders. The last one, few days ago, he signed the 10th one that was kicked out. He went to Supreme Court and they kicked out. He was seeking for financial freedom for state legislators. That was his 10th executive order. And the Supreme Court kicked it out. So the executive order has been there. Our politicians have been using it. So what we need is an executive order for the masses. I personally, if I have the opportunity to be Nigerian president, I will not take a salary. I will not take 1 naira of Nigerians to fix Nigeria. I will not take salary for 4 years. I will deliver a Nigeria that will be working. What is needed is to cut salary.
If you say, Doc, sorry, I want to come in right there. If you say you will not take a salary, because we all believe that when a man works, he chops. If you say you not take a salary, what do you think is the common narrative for ordinary Nigerians? Okay, he doesn't take salary. He's taking something from behind. Because this is easy for people to give a narrative on what you are doing. It is very much acceptable to get paid for what you've done.
Right.
Now, if you decide, okay, I don't want to get paid for this, how will you convince the masses to believe that, okay, I'm not getting paid and I'm doing this right.
What I mean is that if I am to be, I am not going because of the salary, right? So okay, I can still do the same thing without a salary. That's what I mean. Okay. Now so if a condition comes that is required to be done without a salary, I'm offering myself that I will be doing. So that's what I mean. Okay. Why is salary the problem? The salary is a problem because they are buying guns with these salaries and giving to criminals. So in a state, you see when they are campaigning for election, if you are an opposition, you think he's a popular candidate, you see oppositions buying guns, giving youths to sponsor chaos in the state. Okay, it's because they have the money. So we need to stop this. If you listen to what Imasi said, Imasi was referring to salaries of professors, comparing it to public servants in Germany. That's what we need. A professor have told a director in FCD Abuja, for instance, his salary should be commensurate to what a senator is earning, so that people cannot leave civil service and run to Senate just because he wants to make more money. People should be coming to Senate because he got an idea of what he wants to offer. He comes, deliver that idea, and go back to whatever he was doing. Okay, if you want to be a president, you got an idea, you come, deliver it and go. So if that is done, people will stop killing somebody. When you contest the election and lose, you go back, you fold into your career and move on. Okay, that is my thought.
Okay, I will give everybody 1 minute to give a round-up speech regarding our topic today, and the speech should please center on solution, because we've been whining and speaking up against the situation. Now it's time to give a solution. So I will give everybody 1 minute, 1 minute time to speak about the solution. But before then, I think Mr. Nnamdi is raising his hand. And you want to speak? Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. You see, when Barrister Imasi was talking about the criterions of our governance and the huge amount that we are eating, it brings us for what you want us to do now about the solution. The problem in that solution is who is going to accept that solution. For example, you saw what happened just this week. When the Attorney General was in a press interview, mistakenly, he spoke out what is their mind, what is going on in the presidency. Yeah. And the next day, the country reacted on it.
Immediately.
When they are talking about the judicial system of governance and the bias in the judicial system in Nigeria and the corruption into it, why is it that the cases of the poor masses can be lingered for a long time? Some of the youths are in prison awaiting trial. There are some people, their case can be called up within weeks to judge it. And there are some cases that involve the government official that their cases can be put in a standstill. They will use other activities to cover it up, to push out the face of the masses out of it. It was when he was asked about the case of former EFCC chairman, Magu, that somebody that was accused of corruption, and he is the chairman of EFCC fighting corruption, was accused of corruption. And now that they realize that this man have already went back to his position as a policeman, they brought out about the person indicted in the US for extradition, ex-police officer, who they call the hero of superhero police officer in Nigeria, not knowing that it's corruption, it's corrupt. So his case, when the Attorney General said, yeah, mentioned about it, when they asked him about the case, he was trying to make it possible that the problem of that case lies on the judiciary. That was when the Chief Justice of the Federation stood up and called the court to revise that case of Abakari. But they are not the one holding it. It was federal government that stamped on that case. Now you see that the corruption system of Nigeria lies into the presidency.
That's huge.
And they are lying to the people. What I said is always every time. When a father cannot tell his children the truth, that's where the families have the problem. Why should you lie to the people of Nigeria? Because even the money they recovered, when it was when our Attorney General was they asked him about the money recovered, he told us that the money was used in fixing the 2021 budget. And why did we borrow money before from China? You talk about using it to fix the budget. Now the money recovered is the same place because the money looted that are recovered are being looted also by the government. The solution is we have to hold the bull by the horn. If the government, let me tell you something, we are talking about corruption, about the politicians, the presidency, the House of Senate. Where the most corruption is in parastatals. The directors of all those parastatals, Minister of Health, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of that, look into the directors that are handling that post. For example, in Imo State, last time somebody petitioned the director of the pensioner, the person holding the pensions money, the way he's buying properties in Nweke. And what did the government do about it? Because of everybody has the shares from one person to the other, their hands are being soiled in this corruption, and they don't want to call upon, because when they hold this one accountable, he will mention names. And thereby mentioning names and trying to mention them, his life and the life of his family is in danger. The country has been a zoo where animal who is bigger than each other can eat the other one. The only way we can solve the problem, if we are ready to solve the problem, is to come out in masses, have our voters card, vote, and be ready to call back the voter who voted for when he messed up under 1 year or 2 years. Like Imasi said, our youth are divided. Some have sold their conscience, some that still have conscience. Those that still have conscience, if you can build them up to be more than the one that have sold their conscience, we are going to make head in our country. But talking about these two parties, APC and the PDP, one clan said all of them supposed to face a mass burial. People were laughing. If you check out the vote in Senate, House of Representatives, the problem they have, we in diaspora, like I said before, when they say people in the diaspora can remit money more than the oil money in a year, why can't they vote?
This will be a special topic.
Why can't they vote? Because a senator said why they cannot allow that bill is because the mentality of people living abroad are different from their own. If they allow that bill, the people in diaspora, we vote them out.
I think this topic you just raised now will be a special topic we are going to discuss probably in coming weeks. Before we end today's section, I want to give Mr. Ifeanyi and Nnemekolisa the opportunity to ask questions if they have questions. Mr. Ifeanyi, do you have any question to ask our speakers?
No, I don't have.
Thank you. Okay.
Let me make my final statement, please. Yeah.
I will give everybody 1 minute to speak. Everybody has 1 minute to speak. Mr. Osai, do you have any question to ask our speakers?
Actually, my question has always been, how are we going to solve the problem of political decay in this country? So everybody has been speaking about the problem, nobody has given a kind of concrete solution, the way we should go about it. No one has addressed it. They are only talking about the problem, why the problem cannot be solved. And they've not said, these are the things we should do. Let's follow it this way. So when you said you are going to give all the speakers 1 minute to
speak about the solution.
Talk about the solutions to the problem. So I was happy because I'm eager to hear it. Yes,
okay.
I want to know.
Okay.
Forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Osai. I will give everybody now 1 minute to speak. I'll be timing everybody. So first of all, I will go to Mr. Imasi. You have your 1 minute solution to the situation in Nigeria.
Yeah, so the solution in Nigeria, since it is democracy, is definitely the youth. The youth and people from the age of 50 down. Because if they can organize themselves and then choose 1 or 2 people to run for presidency, since the president has the ultimate power in the country, and if they're able to win, and the man they put there or the woman they put there should be able to implement things in the country. So if he needs help and advice from people from Nigerians all over the world, they should be able to help him with concrete reasons and concrete advice how those things will go. I still believe in leadership. Leadership is everything. If you have a good leader that shows a good example by what he wears, by what he eats, by the way he talks, by what kind of a car he drives, if he rides bicycle, if you see him freely on short knicker and t-shirt, moving around, showing people that their continent is nice, they can equally do something better there. I think that is the only solution they have now. The youths are more in number. They should be able to gather themselves, choose 1 person. I know it's going to be difficult for them because they don't have money, but they should be able to convince these young boys and young girls that the nation belongs to them and not the few elders, the few old people that hold Nigeria in a sort of a prison. German call it Geiselhaft, is that they have hold them in their hands that they cannot breathe. So I still believe in democracy, even if the election in Nigeria is not very correct, it's mostly wrong. That is the only solution because the army will never come back again. The army has been corrupted, injected by the allies and leaders in the politics, and people should not take this word corruption for harm. The way they mention the corruption is like it's something like somebody chop Gary. These people, they should call it thieves. These people are stealing. They are thieves. They should change it in a way that people should understand what it means. That corruption does not really mean how Germans say is a bagatelle, something that you just use your hand to wash it and throw away. They should let the people understand that it is stealing. They are thieves. They are thieves because in that our country, it is he who steals a goat or who steals amala or who steals mango is the one they say is a thief. He's hungry, but he goes and steals. But the one that is using pen to add 000 and carry millions away, they say that one is corrupt. That one is the worst thief. Is the worst thief ever in the country.
Thank you, Mr.
That is
Imasi.
my contribution.
Thank you so much. And I will give Mr. Steve Nweke his 1 minute mic.
All right, thank you so much. I want to say that, of course, we've talked a lot about the problems and we need to talk about the solution. Having said that, great nations are built by people of great ideas. Singapore, Malaysia, modern Turkey, Rwanda in Africa today. So, of course, we've not gotten there. When we think about solutions, that we need purposeful leadership. We need a passionate leader. Nigeria has not been fortunate to have such a passionate leader who does not, who does not see himself as a representative of either a particular ethnic group or a particular religion. We've not been that fortunate. So we need a purposeful leader, a passionate leader, someone who genuinely loves the country.
We had one called Brigadier Tunde Idiagmo.
Idabo never led Nigeria. He was just the chairman of the Supreme Military Council under Buhari. He was never the president he never led Nigeria.
Yeah, he was the one ruling.
No. Practically, he was not in charge. I mean, people can say behind the scene he was in charge, but we know he was not the president. And again, if you look at it deeply, Idiabo again represented, to some extent, many people saw him as, as a religious extremist. Because if you look at the policies at that time, so many Southerners were victimized. I'm sure you are from Edo State, including your governor at that time. So, but let's not just delve into that now. So when we look at, number one is having a purposeful leader, a passionate leader. We need that. That is the solution. That is just the solution. Number two, Nigeria is a highly religious society. So we need religious leaders to stand up. When I say religious leaders, I'm not talking about Christians or Muslims. I mean, to all our religious leaders. I'll give you several case studies. The Russian Revolution wouldn't have been possible without the priest, the French, in Haiti, we know the role played by former Roman Catholic priest Jean-Bertrand Aristide, in removing a dictator. But I'm not calling for revolution anyway. But again, I'm calling for revolution. But the kind of revolution I'm calling is not a violent revolution. I call it revolution of the mind. It is the responsibility of our religious leaders to let us, to teach. To teach us to love our country, one, and two, to some extent, sanction leaders who are not doing very well. We can never ignore the fact that religious leaders are very powerful in Nigeria. That is why in every election, you see politicians going to Catholic church, going to Anglican church, going to mosque to campaign. So that would be an opportunity for these religious leaders to stand up and confront them and tell them, no, if you are doing this, no, you are not welcome. We cannot support you, criticize you. Let all the pulpits, all the mosques be used as a platform to sensitize the people who want to criticize bad government policies that are not favorable to the people, and then mobilize people for the support. Number three, social media. We need to use the social media to the power of social media was quite explicit in the Arab Revolution, the Arab uprising. It was the power of social media that actually helped to spread the Arab Revolution. I'm not calling for revolution, but we can use it to, again, checkmate our leaders, use it to gain support, use it to criticize them, and then use it again to demand for better governance. And I end with this. Every people across history have had the leaders they deserve. The kind of leaders we have in Nigeria is the kind of leaders we deserve as a people. Until we rise up and demand for a better leadership, we will never get it right. So we need to mobilize our people. The next generation needs to stand up and demand for a better leadership, for a purposeful leadership. This, for me, is the true solution, is the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ikenna. I will give Dr. Ezeribe the mic now to round before we round up.
Thanks very much, Obi. I will summarize I will give a summary that basically says all I've been saying. Number one is youth should participate in politics. I agree with Imasi. If possible, they should form a political party, project a candidate. But if you cannot do that, you should do what you can do now, which is get your PVC, vote the right candidate. It doesn't matter who that person is. Don't consider region, don't consider religion, don't consider any bias. Just vote the right candidate and make sure you stay there and look at them, count your vote. Okay? Number two, if anyone who has the sources of Nigeria in heart wins Nigerian presidency. He should think, of a way forward using his position at the time, because no matter the circumstance, we can make progress. So if you win, think of using the powers at your disposal to make progress. Think of signing executive orders to reduce salaries of politicians, because I think that is very important. As soon as that is done, people will stop, dying to be in political office, or to be political office holders when they have nothing to offer. So that should be considered and implemented if possible. Also, we should anybody that is voted that wins Nigerian presidency should consider, forming front towards building industries where Nigerian graduates can get employment. I want to address one other thing before I drop the mic. Is the West more intelligent than Africans? No, they are not. They are not more intelligent. The only problem is they have been in a society that worked, so they've seen these things work and they see it as a culture. In our place, most of our youth have been in a society that have never worked. So they take it that is how things are done. So it's going to need reorientation to get people moving towards the right direction. Some Nigerians don't think that they deserve 24 hours electricity. They don't think that they deserve security. Okay, so they don't know. This is just because they don't know that this is possible. But as soon as somebody gives the society what they deserve, I think that the response of the citizens will change. Nigerians are very intelligent. Nigerians are very progressive. Nigerians are industrious group of people. They've been doing it in US and elsewhere. So they are good. It's just our system that has failed all of us, and we need to join hands and fix it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ezeribe. Before we round up, I want to ask Mr. Nnameka Osai, are you pleased with the solution given by the speakers?
I must say that they all have points. From their own perspective, they all have points. They've actually added to my questions. I'm okay. Thank you very much.
Can you speak out a bit? Can you speak loud a bit?
Okay, I said they made points from their own perspective. So they addressed the problems from different angles. And I must say that I'm okay with it. So their responses are very much welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Osai. And before we close to this section, I want to urge everyone here to please, once we release the YouTube video, please share to people, disseminate this information. Let our people listen to this. Let them know that, okay, people are speaking about this. Share it in your several WhatsApp group you belong. Share it in everywhere you belong so that people will start listening. And we are going to cut this video in bit by bit so that people can easily have access to it, because we spent now 2 hours, 3 minutes. Some people might not be able to watch all those for 2 hours, 3 minutes because of internet situation in Nigeria. But as it is, please share these videos to your friends, to your family, tell them to like the YouTube channels and ask questions. And yeah, just let's basically move this discussion, not just here, out of this place to Nigerians and also Nigerians in diaspora. That being said, I want to thank everyone who participated, especially Mr. Ikenna Nweke, who should be sleeping by now. He lives in Japan. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation, and also thank you, Barrister Imasi is not here anymore. Thank you, Mr. Achonu, my co-host, and thank you, Dr. Ezeribe. Ifani, I appreciate your time with Nnameka Osai. Thank you very much, everybody. And Ikenna wrote something. We don't have SARS in police force today because the young people fought for it. If they demand for good governance in the same manner, they will definitely get it. I agree. We still have a lot to discuss. We still have a lot to talk about the betterment of our country. The most important thing is that we are speaking out and our voice must be heard. And the only way our voice must be heard is the way we disseminate this information. Share it across every platform you belong to so that people will listen and understand what we are trying to push. That being said, a very good evening to everybody. Ifeanyi, thank you so much for that. And have a nice weekend, everybody. Goodbye.